Felix's hat. That orange hat of Felix was always getting lost. It fell under chairs or tumbled behind the bureau or got stuck under the radiator. But Felix always found it again, which was lucky because he hated going anywhere without it. One day the whole family was going to the pond. Penelope brought her glossy magazine. Frank had his flippers. Frida carried her bucket. And baby Phoebe didn't bring anything, not even a bathing suit. Felix, of course, wore his hat. When Daddy was getting the car ready, Felix snapped his goggles tight around his hat just to keep it from blowing off as they drove. "Does he have to look like that?" his big sister Penelope asked. When they got back to the pond, Felix took his inner tube and ran straight down to the water. "Goodbye, Frank and Penelope," he called as he jumped into his tube and went paddling off to the water lilies. The sun was warm, the clouds were fat and white. Lying in his inner tube, Felix thought he was a Cheerio in a milk bowl. He thought about a big spoon coming to get some Cheerios when, thunk, splash! A tube bumped right into a rock and Felix fell into the water. First, he was sure he was drowning. Then his feet touched the bottom, and then he pushed himself back into the tube. Felix blew water out of his nose. Boy, did he get back to shore fast. "Good heavens, my little frog, where were you?" Mommy Frog said as she wrapped wet Felix with a big striped towel. "Mommy, a giant spoon crashed into me," Felix said. Frida's mouth fell open. "Gee," she said. Penelope looked him over. "Where's your hat, Felix?" she said. "Uh-oh," Frank said. "My hat," Felix screamed. "Where's my hat?" "I saw it when you were in the water," Penelope said. "I want my hat." "Now don't get so upset, Felix," Frank said. "We'll find it." Frank and Felix and Penelope rowed out into the little boat to look for the hat. Penelope rested while Felix looked under the lily pad. They searched around the rock and in the reeds. Frank even dove underwater, but no hat. Penelope looked at Felix. "That was a stinky old hat anyway. I bet a duck took it away and is wearing it now." Ride home, Felix didn't say a word. He didn't talk to anyone. It was dark when they got to the house. Felix walked straight into his big chair and everyone followed him. "I will not go to bed without my hat," Felix said. "Oh, honestly," Penelope said. "Bath time," Mommy Frog said. "And I won't take a bath without my hat." So Felix sat by himself. His head felt very lonely. After a while, Frida came back in wearing her pajamas. hat, she said, and gave him her bear. Felix took the teddy bear and put it on his head. It was too funny and furry. Then Phoebe crawled in with her bottle in her mouth. She held out her bottle and Felix put it on his head. The bottle was too skinny and tall. Penelope came in carrying her old yellow blanket. A blanket can be very comforting, Felix, she said. Felix put the blanket on his head and just made everything dark. Frank did a slide into the big chair. You know, I could find my old red baseball cap, Frank said. If you want that, it's probably in the garage. The others looked hopefully at Felix. Felix shook his head. He didn't want it. Felix was getting sleepy, but he couldn't go to bed. Everyone else was getting sleepy too. Off to bed, all of you, Daddy Frog said. It's late. I can't believe you have to sleep in that hat, Penelope said as she went out. A tear came into Felix's eye. Felix, his mother said. She lifted him onto her lap. I want to tell you a story. See the moon? She pointed out the window. Somewhere that moon is shining on your hat. And right now there's probably a little animal lying under your hat, feeling all snug and warm. He's saying, "Thank you, Felix, for giving me such a nice place to sleep." Felix shrugged against Mommy's frog's shoulder. What kind of animal do you see, Felix? A turtle, Felix said, and shut his eyes. Mommy Frog was putting Felix into bed when Frank tiptoed in. I finally found it, he whispered. Here, buddy, here's my old red hat that I won at the county fair. It's not your orange one, but maybe you can wear it anyway. He put the red hat on Felix's sleepy head. Later that night, while Felix was sleeping, he had a dream. In the midnight sky, a turtle was flying with Felix's hat in his mouth. The turtle was coming to return Felix's hat. But when he flew over Felix's bed and let go of the hat, something strange happened. As the hat fell, it started changing color, so that by the time it landed on Felix's head, it wasn't orange anymore. It was red. When Felix woke up the next morning, his head felt happy. He jumped out of bed and ran into the bathroom mirror. There was my new red hat. Hey, Frank, he shouted, look! Frank came into the bathroom door to see what was going on. Penelope, Frida, Phoebe, Felix yelled, look what the turtle brought me. Go back to bed, said Penelope. Gaga, said baby Phoebe. Breakfast time, called Mommy Frog from the kitchen. Felix pulled the brim of his hat around to the back, put on his slippers, and trotted down happily down to breakfast. Felix was happy because he found his hat. He thought it was his hat and it turned red from orange. That's the end of the story. There's the book cover called Felix's Hat. I hope you enjoyed the story, Max. probably time for you to go to bed. I love you, buddy. Have a good night's sleep. Talk to you again later. Bye-bye.